It happened at a very bad time for me because I had just decided a half hour before that not to go to that consistory. I had been in Malta marrying a nephew of mine, and I got the early plane in my mind thinking, you know, I rarely go to a consistory in Rome. Maybe I should try to do it because there's 3 saints that were going to be voted on. So I had an intention to go to that, and then by the time I got here into the North American College to change, by that time it was already almost 11 o'clock. So I said, well, I guess I missed it. So then I began to unpack and do my work, and my phone rang, and one of the priests called me, Monsignor Figueredo, called me and said, did you hear the news? I said, what news? And he told me. And I guess, you know, your heart stops for a minute because it is so tremendously not shocking but unexpected, and you first of all your heart goes out to the Holy Father who had to go through all kinds of emotions, preparing this and offering it and now saying, you know, thanks be to God that I did it. I hope it was the thing God wanted me to do. So for me it was a very special moment, personally, because I could have been there and I wasn't. So I was disturbed that I wasn't at so historic a moment in the history of the Church, and in the history of a man that we've all gotten to respect so very much, of Pope Benedict XVI. Some will speak of the Holy Father's courage in doing this because he felt it was the right thing to do. But to be the first one in 600 years to do something like that takes a lot of courage. So I think the Holy Father's courage will be evident to them. Secondly, I think they will worry about the Holy Father, that he's well, that he's feeling well, and they will worry that we don't know this whole story, that maybe he's sicker than he thinks he is, or than he says he is, and so they will worry about him, and that's very beautiful because it shows the love that they will have for His Holiness. Then I think there will be some who will say, "Gee, you know, where do we go now? You know, what's going to happen to the Church? Who will be elected? So many of the cardinals nobody knows, and will there be a movement to do this or that or the other thing?" And I think some will be somewhat troubled by the uncertainty. There'll always be some who'll say, you know, this is God's holy will, and it will work out as God wants it to. So I think that there's a gamut of emotions that just people will pass through as they consider this most historic event. There will be some who will feel the new Pope is not conservative enough, or not liberal enough, or not what they wanted. But that happens whenever there's a Pope named. Happens whenever there's a president or even a mayor. So people are always reflecting from their own experience and from their own desires what they get. I think the vast majority of people will say he should take care of himself. We're glad that he's now going to take care of himself. We will miss him, but he is no longer our Pope, like happens in the old kingdoms when the king retires and a new king comes, and even when a new president, there may be a lot of affection for the president who is leaving office, but at least in our country, we've learned to say, okay, this new man is our president, and we will deal with him. We will try to support him. We will try to love him. We will try to make sure that with the help of God, he has all the gifts that he needs to help our nation. So I don't see it as it's a traumatic in the very beginning, but once you get used to it, I think it will not be a problem for the people of the Church. His physical body he's able to do what he has to do, but I think he has the fear. He's good. I'm 82. I'm beginning to forget names and dates and situations. I think maybe he's going through that a bit, and he wants to be as fit as he can be. He feels that to be Pope, you have to be, like they said of St. Dominic, the athlete of God, and everything everything that's top-notch. And I think he loves the church so much that was why he would want to be out. He might be afraid if he's forgetting things or maybe not making judgments that he, in another circumstance, he would. With Pope John Paul II, I think he felt that even though his body was weakening very much toward the end, yet he was governing the church even to the very end, and so this did not become at that period in his time a real problem. But I think all of this, in a certain sense, hinges on the wonderful homily that Pope Benedict gave when he was installed as Pope. He said, the church is young and the church is alive. And I think that's what we face today, to make sure that the church is young and the church is alive. Young doesn't mean the old people have no place in it, but young means that it is able to attract the young, and this is one of the real problems. The young are becoming more secular. The young are falling into these strange belief systems so often. The young are more interested in peace in the world than peace in their hearts, perhaps. All these things are. That's one of the major problems that the new Pope will have. And then secondly, and it fits into the other, that the church is alive. The church is vital. I can hear John Benedict say this when he accepted the awesome responsibility of being Pope, to keep the church alive, to make sure that it never becomes humdrum, that it never becomes boring, that it never seeks to be too much on the left or too much on the right. That it is alive in the center, in medius stat virtus, the fathers would tell us, and I think that's going to be one of the great needs of the new Holy Father, as it's a great need of any pope, of any priest, because you cannot afford to lose your people, be they on the right or the left. You cannot afford to have them think that they do not have a place in the church. You cannot afford to let them slip away from you because they feel that you are not paying attention to them. So I think those are the things to make sure we reach the young, and to make sure that we do it in such a way that they see life in the church. Obviously, there will be other concerns, as the Pope, who is a major world figure, sees the world about him in some areas crumbling. Yeah, you look at the Arab Spring. The Arab Spring was an idea so filled with opportunity, and now in some countries it becomes more a source of hesitation, a source of internecine fighting, and a source of sorrow. Well, the new Pope has to look at that, because there are so many Christians everywhere in the world, and they have to be able to live at peace with the Arab Spring. They have to be able to live at peace with despotic governments. They have to live in peace with the leftovers of Muslimism that is extreme, leftovers of democracy that is too demanding, leftover dealing with the leftovers of a secularism which is now not just leftover, but maybe coming back in so many countries, including our own. So I think those are the things the Holy Father would have to do. And for that, of course, he has to be a wise man, he has to be a courageous man, but more than anything else, he has to be a holy man. We look at China, and a billion people, probably as many people in China as there are in the Catholic community all over the world. And we don't know where China is going. The new government of China seems to be setting a very good path in so many areas, but they haven't played out the whole notion of the relationship with religion, and a special way for us, the relationship with the Catholic Church. That is going to be especially our concerns living together with with our brothers and sisters who are Muslim. That certainly is very, very important, especially in the Middle East now. The new Holy Father has to know that he must deal with young people. The young people are not going to take their direction from someone whom they don't think loves them. Not in religion, they won't. And someone who has great administrative ability, because you're talking about a church of more than 1 billion people, and in so many different areas where it is having great success, and so many other areas where it is having great problems. So he has to have great discernment of spirits, great ability to see who the men who should walk with him, who the men and women who should help the church move forward into the crises of a secular and non-Christian world. It takes a concrete form, I guess, in a man having a great experience of dealing with people, and in a man having great experience in choosing the ones that he can deal with, choosing the ones who will be his lieutenants, and who will be able to help him, because the Pope cannot do it alone. First of all, God is with him, and God will direct him, but the Lord often deals with us through our friends and our associates and those whom we have chosen to be with us in the struggle. Therefore, any Pope has to have the gift of choosing people, the gift of people, which would mean the gift of choosing those who will be at his side. Well, I love my country, and I love my brother bishops, and especially those who are cardinals from our country. There's some tremendous men, some perhaps more extraordinarily talented than others. I probably should not say this, but I have the greatest regard for my successor, Cardinal World, who would be a great pope. But I think a number of cardinals around the world would be great popes, and in the United States there certainly would be some. But I don't know the political reality, or even more the ideological reality, because as in every human institution, there are those who are more conservative and those who are more liberal. I don't want to call them conservatives and liberals or right and left, but certainly there are different, that we all approach the great things of life with our own ideas, with our own speculations, and I think that we'll see that played out in the next few weeks, and perhaps the closer we get to the exit omnes, some things will become more clear than they are now.